Hello, I'm Lloyd Bonson and welcome to Silverstone for rounds 11 and 12 of the Quaife Fiesta Championship. The first races are A, B and D class. The weather's been a little bit mixed. It's over to Richard to take you through the grid.
Thanks very much, Lloyd, and a warm welcome back to you. Pole position, Alistair Kellett. Jamie White is alongside. Row 2, John Cooper and Stuart Robbins. Then Jess King and Jack Uhill, Peter Dendy-Sadler and Dana Freeman. Row 4, followed by Penny Jones and Tim Bennett. Al Daly, Derek Robinson, Luke Bannister and Christopher Horn completing the grid here at Silverstone on the national circuit. Pole position, the outside line, hence the black, blue and yellow trim car of Alistair Kellett starts on the outside line and immediately coming across from right of shot to try and annex the lead position as they head down into Copse Corner. Good start by John Cooper from the outside of row 2. Cooper is up into third place and Jamie White is edged down into second place, on board with Penny Jones from 9th on the grid. Al Daly's had a great start, he's in white immediately ahead of her, and we've got Peter Dendy-Sadler currently leading Class A. PDS is leading Class A in the championship standings. There's Jack Uhill there in 93 ahead of Jess King, coming through Beckett's and about to head down the Wellington Straight here on the national circuit. Of course, we did race at Silverstone earlier on in the season, but effectively using the other half of the venue, the international short circuit, as we pick up on Alistair Kellett, the race leader. So Kellett leads, and up into second place now goes Stuart Robbins. So Robbins in second place. Here's the view from Penny Jones into Brooklands, and very nearly going into the side of Al Daly. And problems for Dana Freeman as well. 3 lady racers out this weekend racing. And Dana, not sure if that's a terminal problem, but we've got a great scrap on for third position here. Stuart Robbins was on the inside line. Jamie White there side by side. Great racing between the pair. Alistair Kellett is down the road, something we've seen him doing pretty much all year, apart from the second of our other Silverstone races, where he non-finished. That one was won by Jess King, who's third in the standings at the moment. We'll talk about Jess a little bit later, but you can see how wet the circuit is. Difficult conditions for the drivers. Alistair Kellett revelling in it for sure. So John Cooper second, then Stuart Robbins in the 00, and Jamie White runs a little bit wide there through Beckett's. Penny Jones looking at the rear end of Tim Bennett. Tim running second in Class A. Third in the Class A standings is Tim Bennett at the moment, but we switch shot, and this is second, third and fourth overall. And in Class D, on a big tank slapper for Stuart Robbins, and can he collect it all up? He does. How he held on to that, I don't know, but he's also holding on to third place, or is he? Runs wide in the 00. Stuart Robbins holds on to third position, up ahead of Jamie White. That was a great save by the 00, and is actually making progress on it. So very clearly, Stuart Robbins right on the limit. Stuart started off the season with 4th, 3rd at Snetterton, 5th place at Silverstone race 1, then second position in race 2. Had a second at Castle Combe last time out, and he's been knocking on the door of that top step, but of course he's got to dislodge Alistair Kellett in order to get the win, and that's going to be a very, very difficult thing to do. Here's the scrap still for third place. Stuart Robbins up ahead of Jamie White, coming through Beckett's. Luke Bannister nips past. Luke, of course, the championship leader for Class B, ahead of Kieran White by some substantial way at the moment. Top 4 are through. Jack Uhill comes through in 4th place here in black and red, followed by Jessica King. Jess third in the championship. Jack, who is ahead of her in the race, is 4 points behind her in the championship standing, so that may well get reversed here as we go in car with Penny Jones, the ex-mini racer, challenging Al Daly. Haven't seen Al since the last round of last year at Brands Hatch, the Formula Ford Festival. And meanwhile, Jack Uhill and Jess King, are they getting closer? I think Jess might be closing up on Jack at the minute. Jack Uhill qualifying in 5th, Jess King in 6th place, so they're holding station from where they qualified. Jack with the 1:12.5, Jess King with the 1:12.422. So close stuff going on, and good to see these 3 classes getting separate races from the Class Cs. It used to be very much the norm at each meeting, and wonderful to see the split once again, and gives us a chance to focus on these three classes. Here's Penny Jones again, acquitting herself well in her Fiesta debut. As you can see, the mix of classes works very well indeed, and it's Tim Bennett in the 16. He's running second in Class A. The Class A leader is the light blue and orange car, Peter Dendy Sadler, who's looking to extend his championship lead this weekend. Penny Jones again trying to pass Al Daly, so down the straight. Jones left of shot now as we look at it. As you can see, Tim Bennett qualified on the road behind Peter Dendy Sadler, had Dana Freeman and Penny Jones between himself and Peter Dendy Sadler, so there was a little bit of a cushion, and you can see that cushion is there again for Peter Dendy Sadler. This time it's Daly and Jones who are in between, because we saw Dana Freeman having a problem. Dana Freeman is incidentally still running, which is good news as we look at Penny Jones there in the 50. And this Fiesta, obviously a difference to the Mini that she's been used to racing in the past, but wonderful to see her taking part in this championship and enjoying her race with the Class A Mark III Fiesta of Tim Bennett. Tim, who has taken 3 class wins so far this year. Here's the view from Penny once again, coming into Maggots, the left-hand king, then it's the right-hander round into Beckett's, and Penny still chasing. Al Daly in number 2 is there as well, the Sevenoaks base racer, first outing of the year for Al. Not quite know how he has time to race and do all the paperwork associated with the championship, but he does a grand job of both, as we stick with Penny Jones still chasing the man second position in Class A. So this has been a good 3-class battle for the A, B and D cars. Remember, we've got the C-Class STs to come as well, 2 races for them. 4 races in the championship left after this weekend, but Penny Jones still trying to deal with this car, and she wants to try and engage in battle with Al Daly. Goes through on the inside of Tim Bennett. Bennett, for his point of view, of course, wants to try and catch up with Peter Dendy Sadler. You can see his 3 cars now ahead of him. Penny Jones in front, Al Daly in front of Penny, and then Peter Dendy Sadler immediately ahead, and Jess King is up ahead of those as well, as Tim Bennett goes back through on the inside line. So Penny Jones drops a place, not within class, but overall. And there's Jess King going through shot. Peter Dendy Sadler, leader of Class A, and then Al Daly and Tim Bennett running second in Class A. Third position, we do have a third in Class A? No, we don't. We just got the 2 runners in Class A. 2 runners in Class B as well, because we lost Derek Robinson very, very early on indeed as well. Down Wellington Straight we go again. I've got to say that Jess King looks pretty safe at the moment in 6th position. As you can see, Tim Bennett running very well indeed now, and up with Al Daly, but can't quite deal with Daly at the moment. Might look down the inside if Al runs a little bit wide here at Luffield. Al's keeping the line pretty well. Remember that the chasing car is an 1800cc, the older car, the 1800cc, and the newer Class D cars, the 3-door 1600cc. So the 18s maybe perhaps not having the handling necessarily of the newer Class Ds, but will have the power, and Tim Bennett's using that to good effect and has now got clear track between himself and the class leader Peter Dendy Sadler immediately in front of him. It might be too late for him to close down. Penny Jones meanwhile having a look at the inside line on Al Daly. It's the outside for the first part of this complex. This is Maggots, and Penny can't quite go through, and Al Daly holding on to position. That's 7th position in class as we go in car with Luke Bannister, the leader of Class B. Class B, of course, as we said, for the 1400cc C-Tech powered cars, the Mark V Fiestas. But at the front of the field, it's Stuart Robbins who has taken over from Alistair Kellett. Kellett goes down on the inside line and passes to put a lap on Penny Jones. So the race leader is Stuart Robbins, who looks like he's going to take a first win Robbins has had a brace of second positions. The checkered flag is ready. Robbins takes it. Alistair Kellett is in second. Penny Jones crosses the line next. She'll finish 7th in class. But it was Robbins from Kellett, John Cooper next from Jack Newhill, Jamie White, Jess King, Peter Dendy Sadler wins Class A from Tim Bennett. Al Daly was there as well. Then Luke Bannister winning Class B from Christopher Horn.
Got a really bad, because I was on slicks, and the two, John and Alistair had an intermediate setup, so had wets on the rear, so had more grip. I come down to the last, the back straight and braked and lost the back end totally. Ended up completely sideways, so that dropped me back from the leaders. But as the track dried out, obviously I was quicker. I think I was 2 seconds a lap quicker.
Yeah, he pushed me all the way. I was a bit worried at one point.
And actually coming into the last couple of corners, it looked like he might have had the edge. Do you think if there was another lap, it might have gone the other way?
It's hard to say, but he was fighting me all the way.
Peter, that was a close scrap out there today.
It was a little bit too close for my comfort, but Tim was very fast in the second half of the race, and I really struggled to keep him behind. Other than that, we didn't touch each other, which was good, and we both had a good race.
Second race for classes A, B and D. Stuart Robbins on pole from Alistair Kellett, then John Cooper and Jack Newhill. Jamie White and Jess King, followed by Peter Dendy Sadler and Tim Bennett. Penny Jones and Al Daly complete the top 10, followed by Luke Bannister, Christopher Horn, Dana Freeman and Derek Robinson. Robinson there at the back of the grid with Dana Freeman. Robinson in blue and green. Remember, pole position is the outside on the national circuit at Silverstone, and to all intents and purposes, it looks like Alistair Kellett's on pole, but pole is the outside. Right of shot as we look at it. Stuart Robbins with the Union flag atop of the car is the pole position man, having won race one. Jamie White challenging for third place from John Cooper. Had a look round the outside line. Jamie White started in 5th position in this one. Picked up a time penalty for track limits in race number 1. Here's the battle for the lead. Kellett had a great start, but Stuart Robbins, now he's got the winning habit. If you can call one winner habit. He's got the taste of winning, shall we say. Peter Dendy Sadler gets a tank slapper on and is off. The class leader is off in the gravel, and that surely means that there won't be a double for Peter Dendy Sadler at this meeting. Alistair Kellett gets the spray of the race leader coming down the straight into Brooklands. Kellett goes wider, and that does two things. It gets him out of the spray. It also shows the race leader, the 52 car, very clearly in the mirrors. And Kellett here going wider. There is, of course, sometimes a little bit more grip to be had on the wide line because there isn't rubber down on that part of the circuit. And Kellett, the Irishman, chasing hard, but it is still out front. Stuart Robbins, and here comes Kellett, makes the move up the inside. And Alistair Kellett goes through, and has he got the lead? They're side by side coming into Copse. They're side by side for third as well, but no. Stuart Robbins uses the grip on the outside, runs a little bit wide there. He's going to have to be careful of that. The officials, as ever at Silverstone, are all over that at this meeting. They'll allow it once, maybe twice. We've got double wave jellos there. That, I think, is for Peter Dendy Sadler. So no overtaking here. They all pretty much slip back into one by one. Will we get a flash? There is Peter Dendy Sadler trying to get his car out of the gravel. So Dendy Sadler here is going to have to be waving goodbye to some points for Tim Bennett. Well, actually, Tim Bennett's out of the race as well, so Dendy Sadler could pick up points for winning class if he can get going. He'll probably lose. He's lost a lap already. And we'll come back to that, but out front it is still Stuart Robbins, the race leader. Alistair Kellett, I know, will be revelling in this. Look at the wide line there from Jess King. Really got her head screwed on, looking for grip on the outside line in the wet and trying to hunt down Jack Newhill at the moment. They're dicing over 5th place. Third place at the moment is Jamie White in 45. So here's the view from Jamie White. It's a long way ahead to try and catch first and second place. John Cooper is running in 4th position. There is John in the 88 car. John having had quite a few seconds and thirds. In fact, in terms of race finishes, only finished off the podium once, which was race 2 at Snetterton. All the other race finishes have been on the podium in Class John Cooper. So, and they're still struggling to get Peter Dendy Sadler out of the gravel. Very, very brave marshalling there, because although there are yellow flags shown, the cars are still coming round full tilt. It's very wet. You can see the green flag being waved centre top of the shot, which indicates that the drivers can race from that point therein. Jack Uhill here still ahead of Jess King. Championship-wise, these two fighting over third place in the championship standings. Kellett leads from Robbins in the championship, and Jess King would dearly love to get further up the order. She's already won a race this year. Jack Uhill's been very consistent indeed. He's finished every single race that has been thrown at him so far. He's just been shy of the podium, but he's been fast, he's been consistent, and he'll be looking to build on that if he comes back in the championship next year. And you can see him being egged on there by the team on the pit wall. So Uhill running well at the moment from Jess King. The DNA-backed car of the lady racer from Broughton Astley running very well indeed. Back into the yellow flag zone. Expect to see Peter Dendy Sadler's car in a minute. No, we're not going to see it this time. Possibly it's been moved a little bit more to safety and maybe back on track. Now, we did lose on the first lap Tim Bennett, and there is Peter Dendy Sadler. Our crew here filming have managed to pick him up, and he's got going again now. Will he come into the pits for diagnostics, or will he carry on racing and try and complete the requisite distance? Meanwhile, Al Daly involved in battle here again with Penny Jones. These two have been metaphorically tied together the whole meeting so far, and it's Daly in white, right of shot, that holds sway at the minute up ahead of Penny Jones. Penny just pipped him in race number 1, and Penny takes a deep line there into Brookland. She's going to sweep back to the outside line at Luffield here, and the former mini racer is challenging hard. Some great racing these two have had, and wonderful to see new names coming into the C-Tech S class. Here's the battle for third place, and at the moment it's John Cooper holds sway, but here comes Jamie White. White looks down the inside line. Cooper, I thought, was coming across, but it all worked out well. Coming up into Maggots. Is White going to hold on to the position? Yes, he does. Now into Beckett's, changes down. Cooper's on the outside line. Jack Uhill immediately behind. On board with Jamie White once again. White comes out of Beckett's on the Wellington straight under the bridge that brings us into the paddock area here on the national circuit, and then it's a run down into the left-hander at Brooklands, and you can see White not being overly defensive at the moment. There was space inside and outside there for John Cooper to mount a challenge. Still very wet conditions, and a good enthralling scrap going on for third place at the moment. Cooper again looking up the inside line as they come through Woodcote. The race leaders still nothing between Stuart Robbins and Alistair Kellett. Robbins got the fastest lap in race number 1, and he looks sharp again in this one. I remind you, the race format here, 20-minute races for the BRSCC Quaife Fiesta Championship, so all the drivers get great value for money, assuming we don't get any big pile-ups and safety car infringements, because the safety car time normally eats into the 20 minutes. But here's the view from Jamie White, third position in the 45 car, and Jamie looking to add another podium to his tally. So Jamie takes a wide line into Beckett's, potentially leaves the door open for John Cooper, but Cooper too far back to do anything about that at the moment. Cooper looks relatively comfortable in fourth position at the moment as they head down the straight once again. White in third place, can't see first and second Robbins and Kellett in front at the moment. Well, yes, you can. Dots on the horizon, and they're already through Brooklands. And how quickly do these cars come down the straight and into Brooklands? It seemed only a short while ago the lead pair were there. They're already through Woodcote and heading down to tick off another lap as Jamie White continues in third place. White now starting to put a little bit of space between himself and John Cooper. I can tell you that We've got a good battle going on in Class B between Christopher Horn, Derek Robinson and Luke Bannister. And Peter Dendy Sadler, of course, back on track again. He's going to pick up some more Class A points. Who honestly would have thought that that was the case? I do wonder sometimes whether outside assistance counts here to get him back on track, because he did have that. But anyway, if he finishes, he finishes. As Alistair Kellett, the Irishman, still chasing Stuart Robbins, the man from Shaftesbury, in the Indigo-sponsored blue car, looking to make it 2 wins out of 2 here. And Alistair Kellett, watch the driving style, pretty cool, one hand off the wheel, adjusting something. That with Penny Jones. Now, instinctively, with Penny Jones, I was looking to try and see where Al Daly was, and I think Penny's got the upper hand on Al Daly once again as we go back to our race leader, Stuart Robbins, who crosses the line again, building a little bit of a gap now over Alistair Kellett. Lights ablaze from Alistair up amongst the back marker traffic. So it looks to me as if Robbins has got this one sewn up. Robbins had the fastest lap back on lap 7, a 1:17.141. His fastest lap in race 1 was a 1:12, so the lap times have diminished or been slowed down by 5 seconds per lap. That is the difference in conditions between race 1 and this race 2, which is round 12 of the BRSCC Quaife Fiesta Championship for 2016. Difficult conditions they have been. Either way, Stuart Robbins has done superbly over the course of the 2 races, and Robbins will continue on his way, catching up now with Derek Robinson, and passes Derek quite easily around the outside line, so he will look for the checkered flag, and I think he's going to do a buzz. Is he on the checkered flag or the pit wall? So it is going to be Stuart Robbins making it a double here at Silverstone. He takes it. Alistair Kellett makes it a double podium, and Kellett will be happy to go away with 2 finishes from Silverstone. Jamie White third from Jack Newhill, then Jess King. Penny Jones does beat Al Daly. Dana Freeman next from Chris Horn, who wins Class B. Then Derek Robinson, Luke Bannister and Peter Dendy Sadler winning Class A.
Stuart, a fantastic second race this afternoon at Silverstone. Brilliant victory. Talk us through it.
Full wets, so it's probably the first time I've raced on full wets in this car, so a little bit unsure at first. Had a bit of a hard time with Alistair getting past him off the start, and had to really defend the first few corners. Pulled a little bit of a gap and just managed it from there, tried to keep the tyres cool.
A tough race. It had really rained before we went out and went full wets, and it dried halfway through and it got very, very slippy. And in fairness to Stuart, I'm out battling him with championship, and he was prepared to take a lot more risks than I was, and Jamie was behind me, so I just sat him behind him and followed him home.